back to a Friday edition of the Everything is Earned podcast. We are Everything Cleveland, and my name is Mike.
And I am Tim, his co-host.
Does that make sense? We are Everything Cleveland, and
We
our
talked about-
podcast is named Everything is Earned because in Cleveland we're blue collar AF. So we're just saying that you gotta earn what you get.
Speaking of owning, we jumped right into the Cavs season opener against the Magic last night.
Yeah, they didn't earn a win.
They did not.
Yeah, definitely didn't earn that win.
Yeah, the good thing is basketball is bad. The bad thing is the Cavs is still less than mediocre.
Less than mediocre?
Less than
I mean,
mediocre.
they scored 85 points, so it's not ideal. But there were some good things going on, and there were some bad things going on.
So we're going to break them down tonight.
Do you want to go to the good things first?
Unless you want to start with the bad.
No, I'll go with the good things first. We'll stay positive here, because we're more about the positive in this.
And there were a lot of positives in last night's game.
I liked John Beilein's offense early on, and then the second quarter, I liked it less.
It is, okay, there's going to be inconsistencies with all the rookies out there, all the new pieces that they haven't had on-tour experience with each other. But I think it was clear just from yesterday, last night's game 1, that he's a good coach. Something we didn't see last year from Larry Drew. I think, I mentioned it a couple days ago, how I think Larry Drew ruined a few players, and someone like Cedi Osman has to kind of change his mentality and get it back to a good professional mentality to achieve the potential that he has.
Yeah, I think Jay definitely had some bad habits picked up from Larry Drew.
There was no structure.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But one of the things that I really liked about John Beilein's coaching was the Cavs were down by 21?
20.
In the third quarter, and they brought it back to within 6 on an 18-4 run, and that was really nice to see.
They did
because
it a
they
few
didn't
times.
roll over, and they didn't just say this game is over, and they had a strong third quarter. And a third quarter points to coaching adjustments, so I like that.
And that's to a Cavs team. I mean, this Cavs team hasn't experienced it, but the Cavs over the last 4 or 5 years haven't been a good third quarter team. So it's good to see John Beilein in game 1 being able to make adjustments and come out at halftime and with kind of a boost.
It directly relates to coaching adjustments. So hopefully we'll see that trend continue. We'll see John Beilein make those adjustments. And I think he's going to figure this rotation out over the next 10, 15 games here where he'll get an idea of what players to plug together and not together. One of the things I also liked was Tristan Thompson's aggressiveness on offense. The man went out there and bodied people. He was moving people on that drop step. You were watching defenders fly backwards as he created space. And I liked his aggressiveness. It's probably some of the most aggressive play I've seen out of Tristan, but not like aggressive just to be aggressive. He was being aggressive with purpose, and he was looking to score. And he wasn't making bad moves. He was making legitimately good moves, and he was scoring with efficiency. He was 8 of 11 from the field.
And he was confident about it. I think we heard all offseason during the summer how much he improved his game and how he talked about now that this post-Kyrie and LeBron team is, he can kind of shift into his mentality early on with the Cavs, which is just continue to improve his game and try to just fill the gaps and weaknesses that he has. And he got definitely comfortable. I think he started last year with developing that right-handed hook shot, a little baby hook, and he did that several times after a big drop step on a number of players, whether it be Jonathan Isaac or Nikolai Vujicic, who is a big guy. He's also a center, and yeah, he felt comfortable. I think game 1, I think he's really trying to establish that he's that veteran. He's trying to lead this young squad and to make a playoff push ultimately, but just to lead them and show them the way and how to be professional and how to be a good player in this league.
One of the things I also liked was the early play of Cedi Osman. He came out 3 for 3 with 7 points. He took shots with confidence, was in the right positions, and hit the shots he was supposed to. And I like that because that's the role he's going to have to fit. He's going to be a complementary player in this offense. And the Cavs see him in the future, obviously. He just signed a 4-year, $31 million extension. The last year of that contract is not guaranteed, but
Player option?
No, I don't think so. They don't have the full details yet, but it's not fully guaranteed the last year. So I really like the extension of Cedi because I think he does fit well on this team. I think he definitely has a place in the NBA, and he'll fit John Beilein's motion offense very, very well. It's just a matter of him getting comfortable and breaking those bad habits like we talked about.
And I think we saw a little bit from last night is what he was doing really early on in the season last year, and I was like, wow, he could be a breakout player this year, and he could really make strides. And then in the dysfunctional offense that Larry Drew led them through, and basically allowing him and J.D. Osman or Colin Sexton to do whatever he wanted, really messed with his head and what he was comfortable with and what he wasn't. And I think John Beilein is noticed in the play that they established what you're allowed to do. I mean, Darius Garland's first points was a little pound dribble, like 32-footer off the wing, and he drilled it like off a Tristan Thompson pitch. You mentioned that he's one of the leading assist off pits. Oh, what's that called?
Assisted picks.
Assisted pits in the league, and right there did it early in midway through the first.
Yeah, and assisted by Kevin Love. Kevin Love hit him up with the pass and was happy to give him his first NBA bucket there. So Kevin Love joked about it in the post game. That's why I bring it up. Another thing I really liked is going back to John Beilein is they talked about he talked about post game about the Cavaliers being very, very excited to break down the film and look at some of the things that they can adjust to. And one of the things they mentioned was shot selection, and I really, really love that because they're going to put a lot of emphasis on grading shots. And I know one of the players in the NBA who's huge at that is actually Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, a couple seasons back, went in and graded out all his shots, looked at his film, and eliminated the bad shots out of his arsenal. And that's why when he's became even more deadly and he stopped taking those bad shots. So I'm really excited that John Beilein and the coaching staff is going to do that because I think when you do that, you're going to eliminate some of these Cedi habits. You're going to eliminate some of these Colin Sexton habits, and you're going to let players know what's acceptable and what's not acceptable in the offense.
The standard, and
you'll start seeing a better offense because of it.
More functioning, yes. And I think even while doing that, you'll get to see what teammates could have hit if it were to be an extra ball swing. I think Colin Sexton passed up Cedi on an extra ball swing. I think he hit a few of them. But you still, I think, in the future, you'd like to make that extra swing. Not just because, obviously, I think Cedi shot like 32% from three last year, but Colin Sexton shot over 40, just a little bit over. But still, to have that trust in your teammate for an entire year, because it's going to be 82 games long, I think establishing that stuff early in this new system. And I think Colin Sexton's going to hear that in the film before Saturday's game.
The interesting thing about a motion offense is with everyone getting touches, you feel still involved in the game. And I know you've had this in your basketball time. I've had this in my basketball time, where you have a player that will suck the air out of the ball, and when you touch the ball, you just know they're going to pull, and it can be very frustrating. Getting a stop on defense, coming back on offense, and just knowing you're not going to touch the ball.
Or jacking up a quick shot.
Yeah, or being open and having a player take a contested shot instead of hitting you on the open look. That is incredibly frustrating.
And it
especially if you work to make the proper basketball play, spaced out correctly, made a proper cut, and your player takes a shot that's a lower percentage shot than hitting your high percentage look. It's very frustrating. And
made all the effort on defense just to jack up a low quality shot and give your opponent back the ball really quickly after you either got to stop or it was an entire team effort, and then one player is just trying to take it all on himself.
I'm sure the Cavs have some advanced analytics that speak to that, and one of the things Beilein also said in the post game was we took shots that led to bad transition defense. So he recognizes that when you take bad shots, it puts more stress on your defense, especially in the transition and the fast break phase there. So I really like to hear what Beilein said. He's actually the oldest coach to ever make an NBA debut, which is a nice little fun fact there. And I thought he handled it really well. So the Cavs are definitely going to be in a building mode here, and they're going to start putting some things together. But it's going to take a little bit to get things rolling.
Well, I think John Beilein definitely put in the time. I think he's every promotion he's had has been from. I think he's coached every level of basketball. And it might have been middle school, but I know high school to college and now NBA. And he just looked prepared at every level, and I mean that's probably the reason he keeps on getting that opportunity.
He's going to be a real fan coach. If you stick around for his comments in the post game, you're really going to learn something, and you're really going to appreciate the way he's coaching, and it'll be different than what you've got from Ty Lue and from. What's his face last year? Larry Drew. So he's actually going to be a really entertaining coach to listen to because he gives you information that helps you understand the team better and understand the game of basketball better.
I think he understands. Oh, I think he recognizes. I think he's a classic coach. I think he has a above average NBA coach's basketball IQ, and I think he does a great job establishing directions and what he expects from players. And I think one of the things that a lot of coaches lack is I think he's adjusting to the modern NBA. And I think he's very open-minded at looking at that and seeing if there's a new style to do it and to kind of tone his coaching and to fit what's going on.
He said in the post game as well that he got some feedback from
assistant coach.
No, he got some feedback from Tristan and from Deli and from Kevin during the game, and they were Kevin Love, Porter. And they were able to make some adjustments because of it, and he really enjoyed them. He said that they had adjustments and they had insights that actually helped them be more successful during the game, and they were able to put those into play. And I love that.
You said during the game?
During the game, yeah.
I like that.
And I love that because obviously the coach can set up a game plan and make adjustments during the game, but the players are ultimately the ones out there executing that plan. And if they see something using their expertise and their experience, why not allow them to have input? And I think that's great.
And as veterans, too. Kevin Porter Jr. has raved about Deli's basketball IQ. We know that Tristan is a 9-year veteran, and Kevin Love is playing his, 10th year?
Deli's going to be a head coach, or some kind of coach, after he's done playing. They said, another thing Beilein said about him, he said he could literally go on any NBA coaching staff right now and help them that team be better. He said he's unbelievably smart. Has a great feel for the game of basketball.
That's awesome. I feel like since he's been with the Cavs with that 2014, 2015 during that championship run, I feel like I've never heard about Deli. I've always heard that he's an awesome teammate. They put everything on the line. We all remember the story where he had to go to the hospital because of he was dehydrated. He used to drink black coffee before every game. But yeah, that's awesome. I think Kevin Porter Jr. brought up first, and that he's this wicked, genius, smart basketball player.
Well, he's probably a smart player to begin with, and then when you spend all this time with LeBron, you're going to have some of that stuff rub off on you.
Yeah, it's going to be a sponge on that.
And you're going to absolutely pick up as much as you can. And when you played with who could be arguably the greatest player of all time, you're definitely gonna learn a few things about the game of basketball. So.
I think you kind of get a little bit of that when you see all of his pointing and yelling. Like when he speaks,
he's very vocal.
You see it all in his pictures, on his any photos from the articles of him, or just around on social media. He's always yelling about something, saying about something on the side on the bench. But that's a nice little. They're definitely gonna be. These veterans are definitely going to play crucial parts in the development of these young guys. It's great to hear that John Beilein is open to hearing and tweaking their game plan based off what the players see.
All right, here's my last last positive takeaway of the game. If he stuck around for after the game, there was a segment they did as a half-an-hour program dedicated to Fred McLeod and his impact on the game of basketball and within the Cleveland organization. It was called "Calling Your Shot," about Fred McLeod, and it was just a wonderful half-an-hour program. They took a lot of his calls over the years, from the first time LeBron was here to the whole championship run, and they played back a lot of his calls. They had a lot of people interviewed for it, and it was just honestly just great programming, and I enjoyed the whole thing. I thought it was wonderful. I loved hearing some of those calls again.
I'm sure we can find it.
There's gonna be segments they're gonna post. There's a lot of red tape about the program itself because of rights to video rights and everything.
Is it gonna be a little thing?
It was a one-time episode. It was led by Jeff Phelps.
Okay, and, his commentating partner.
Yeah, and it was just great. They did a lot of little interviews, and then just showed some of the great calls he did, and they had people talk about what his impact was, and they had some pretty fun stories.
That's awesome. I love Fred McLeod. I was in shock when it happened. He has poured his heart and soul into it. You can hear it in his commentating on a nightly basis. He was a definition of a consummate professional.
He elevated the broadcast. Anytime you flipped it on,
just the experience to be a part of as a Cleveland Cavalier fan. I think we all felt that. And yeah, in the biggest moments, he had some of his best commentary. Whether it be that Detroit run that LeBron had in the 2007 playoffs, or the championship run, all of them, but specifically when the moment they beat the Warriors in Game 7.
It's a great video. It's on our social media accounts if you haven't seen it.
But we will find that video on YouTube somewhere, and will be in the link below in this episode description if you want to see if that program last night.
Yeah, we'll try to get some clips here if we can. Wonderful program though. Really enjoyed it. All right, so now on to the negative things of Game 1. And I'm heated about a couple of things, and I want to get into it right away. First thing, we're going to build up from a very small things that I'm upset about,
like the defensive inconsistencies, into
the really annoying things. Okay, so first thing, I thought Clarkson had a really rough game. He did not shoot well. He shot 2 of 12. We know he can get buckets, but he just was not finding his shot. And he seemed like he was forcing it at times.
Did he play at the small forward Wolf position that John Beilein was talking about?
I don't
think I saw it.
I didn't know what he was playing. I just didn't like his flow to his offense. He felt like he couldn't find a rhythm.
He might be one of those guys that has trouble finding his footing in this new offense. Because last year, in that dysfunctional in that team, he's like, I'm supposed to do my thing and ball out. And with his new structure, I think he's having a little bit of trouble. I think he's butting heads a little bit. I think it might be a little bit off his mentality. I think
you think that
you might see John Beilein a little bit down the road in the season and kind of let Clarkson loose a little bit, just a little bit.
He didn't not like. Okay, so Clarkson actually made comments and said that he likes John Beilein's offense. He thinks it makes a lot more sense. He doesn't have to work as hard as far as getting shots. He can get shots. He can create shots easier off of the motion because he's not putting all his energy into 4 or 5 dribbles before he can take a shot. So he says in that regard it's good, and he's had a lot of positive things to say about Beilein. But I think it's going to take a little bit to adjust to.
Acclimated to, yeah.
Okay. So that was the first part that was kind of a little bit upsetting.
The backcourt, the small combo guard defense, I had trouble with. They looked like Martell Fultz and Evan Fournier. It looked like they ate them all day long.
Well, Fournier was okay, but DJ Augustin can't have a game on you. He's a vet, I get it.
He had a good year last year, and for the playoff.
Yeah, but yeah, Sexton played between Augustine and Fournier. Initially Sexton played pretty well against Fournier. He had a couple plays where he shut him off and did a really nice job. And then after the first 3 minutes of the game, Sexton looked like Sexton of last year. It was a little bit upsetting in that realm.
I think
more on that in a second though. Larry Nance had apparently some kind of green light that we didn't know about. He pulled 5 threes and
hit 2 of them.
And hit one.
One of them.
The one he took was in rhythm. I still am not convinced he's a 3-point shooter. I don't necessarily like him pulling threes in the offense.
A little bit off.
I would rather someone else take that shot. Hopefully those threes kind of move over to a more natural scorer like Garland or even Sexton in that regard.
Or Kevin Porter Jr. once he finds his footing.
Or Kevin Love, please.
But I think in that sense, I found it quite annoying last year is they didn't respect his game, so it kind of messed with the flow of the offense. So establishing that he's going to pull threes and get his confidence up early might be a benefit down the road for the Cavs offense. To them,
if the defense knows he's going to pull, if they've known that because it's on film since the last quarter of the game
and get some confidence in his Beilein system, then I think it's going to help out the offense a little bit because I think he did improve his ball handling a little bit. He still is a little bit sporadic with his decision making a little bit, but he's a good passer. He had a ridiculous bunch of times the other day. I feel like he does that once a week.
He should have just put up a little
finger roll,
little touch. He
should have changed it. He should have changed it from a dunk to like a little bit of finger roll.
A little shovel shot.
Yeah. And I feel like he does that once a week.
Yeah.
You're like, what are you doing, Larry Nance?
Nance gets real excited about his jumping ability. He did look bouncy the other day. He did have a good rebounding game. He ended up with
14
with the 14 boards, which was pretty nice. Those 14 boards were mostly good, but he did get out rebounded a couple times because of his height and because of his positioning. I just thought that he had kind of an uneven game at times,
like the Cavs did.
Yeah, it was just an uneven game to begin with. Kevin Love was also a little bit upsetting because I felt like he faded in the background, and I just don't like that from Kevin. I want him to be more present. He had a great rebounding game. He had freaking 18 rebounds. He gobbled up everything on the defensive glass. And I thought that was
no
phenomenal.
Surprise. He's been doing that his entire time in Cleveland.
He just needs the young guys to understand his ability, because if they get him the ball in his positions, he can be extremely deadly, especially in like when you start whipping the ball around. Kevin is great in rhythm.
That's a great point. I have 2 things on that. One, I think last year's team, they respected him and they saw the difference he made once he came back from the injury later in the season. And 2, something I liked a lot about John Beilein's system is right off the rebound, he did like basically he'd often do half-court outlets to Sexton or Garland, and deep extended by the baseline or like by the edge of the court, throughout for what I saw a lot of part of the game.
Yeah, Beilein's offense is going to be a pace offense.
And I
he
love
wants
that.
you to push it and catch the defense sleeping and not set yet. So the offense is predicated on we're going to run. So if Kevin get that rebound, hit the outlet quickly, it's going to give Sexton a chance to use his speed. It's going to give Garland a chance to make a play in the open court. And you hope that with the offense being more of like a trust each other offense, that you'll get the open look if you push the pace.
I mean, you hit on all my points. Using talent, touch, and speed as the 2 guard. You're not forcing him to be a playmaker. You're digging him out and trying to get him out and beat out opposing bids and opposing wing players that are sleeping on him.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this to me, but I have some pretty high basketball IQ.
I'm just saying that you just hit on all the things I was thinking of.
I read the game pretty well here.
And what I want to add a layer with that is if Sexton has the ball, I want like Garland to go short corner, and I don't know if Collins will hit him. But if I'm Garland, I have a good chance for a wide open 3. And if we know Garland, he's a knockdown shooter. And if he gets hot, he's gonna be really hot.
Okay. Okay. Now I'm ready to be upset about my final thing. And you guys,
defensive guard play?
No, I just
they look tiny, slow.
You know where I'm going with this, and I'm sure all of you know I'm going with this. I am so
before you
sick.
say your last. I do want to touch I know we'll get to it. I know you have a lot of opinions about this. For those of you who've been following us for a while, you know exactly what's coming. But I do want to emphasize the small combo guard lineup that looked. Well, Fultz looked really good last night and looked fast. But I think Garland was adjusting to the speed. I think Sexton, he kind of bulked up a little bit. I still think his defense, him on the defense side of the ball is still a work in progress.
Yeah, he's not a good defender.
And I think I mentioned it a couple days ago, but I think we're gonna lose some games because of the lackluster defense of the backcourt we have.
Yeah, I think it's going to be frustrating at times, but yeah, Sexton is not a good defender. And, like you said, this is coming, and it just pains, it's painful. People who know basketball and have watched this kid play enough games, and we watched probably most of 82 last year, this kid
above 60
is simply not adjusted to the NBA game yet. I don't care if you show me his stats on offense or what you're going to show me. He doesn't make anybody better. Point blank, period. That's it. He's not going to make a team better. He simply is looking to get his own buckets and is looking to use his own abilities, and he doesn't open up anybody. He had 2 assists for the entire game. The man played 30 minutes of basketball, wants to be the point guard, and gives me 2 assists in a motion offense that's predicated on passing.
And
it took him nearly 5 seconds to find Cedi open for his first 3 in the corner. And even then, when he hit him, the ball was in his ankles, and Cedi still hit the shot. I could have made that pass from half court before I even got to it. Cedi sunk to the corner early in the offense, and Sexton was busy looking for his own bucket. I don't know, someone pointed out to him, was like, hey, Cedi's still wide open, and there's no one within 30 feet of him. And when I say 30 feet, there was literally no players on the wing. There was no one even on that side of the court. And Cedi's like, I'm here.
A little bit up top, but 10, 12 is reasonable.
You were not going to close out. That's why Cedi caught the ball in his ankles and still had more than enough time to pull the 3 and hit it. It was absolutely ridiculous that he couldn't make a pinpoint, couldn't put the pass in his shooting pocket, and then it took him that long to see it. He simply does not make your offense better. And you can say he's fast and all these other things. He doesn't help you win basketball games.
His basketball IQ isn't high. But it goes back to him not being a natural playmaker. I'm doing air quotes, by the way. And that just means he's not... He doesn't have it in him, or he's not looking for it. He's not looking to improve on his passing ability. And I think something that he doesn't understand is I go back to him not. I don't think he's a great shooter. He might be a good good shooter off the pass, off the catch and shoot. But if he's trying to get his own bucket off multiple dribbles, I'm working on building up finding the stats off the dribble, because it's weird. It's 1 dribbles, 2 dribbles, and it's different between that. But
his spot-up shooting is much better than his off the dribble.
He's put in the time for that, but that doesn't change your bad form for off the dribble. And we've seen him struggle. And in preseason, he had the game winner. He airballed it. As a clutch player, as someone who thinks he's a scorer, you can't do that. But as a non-natural passer, you don't understand, and not a natural shooter, you don't understand how important it is to have a pass on target. And I saw this from a little bit from Darius Garland. He had that one play later in the game where he rejected Tristan Thompson's screen and did a little in and out move on Vojicic, and went to go put up a shot, realized that he had contested layup, and he might have got blocked, or he might have probably missed it, and he saw a wide open Cedi 3, and mid-air adjusted, hit him wide open, and that was just after he hit one at the top of the arc, hit that one, and that put us down by 6 at that point?
6, with a minute left,
and 1 left. He's shown the ability, the basketball IQ, and the willingness to be a team player just from the short time he's been in Cleveland.
Yeah, if I'm Kobe Altman, you can only drink Kool-Aid for so long. Kobe Altman wakes up every morning, looks at his roster and goes, what the hell am I going to do with some of these players? And I can guarantee you that Colin Sexton's on that what the hell am I going to do list. Because, like I said, he simply does not make your team better. He doesn't help anybody become better. The best players on your court elevate everybody else. And it's evident when you look at players like Kevin Love, you look at an impactful point guard across the league, they make their team better. That's what's going on with Russell Westbrook right now. That guy's an absolute animal of a basketball player. But does he ever make anybody around him better? It's very arguable that you could say no, because he's had tons of talent around him, and he's never taken them to the finals. Small scale, but you have to make people better around you in order to win in the NBA if you're going to take that much of the ball throughout the game.
Otherwise, teams are going to move on from you and find something else, someone who will do that. They might be a little bit, the talent level might be a little bit lower, tier lower, but if they're a team player and they're willing to sacrifice for the good of the team, then that has more value to them than this selfish player who's just trying to find his own contract or something like that.
You look at, here's an example, same draft class. Look at freaking Trae Young. That kid can not only shoot the lights out, but he's a ridiculously good passer. And he does draw some defense in with his shooting ability.
A lot.
Well, a lot, but
he had 38 last night.
But when he gets into the paint, this kid's looking to distribute. He's not always looking to score when he hits the paint.
He uses his scoring ability as a decoy to help his teammates.
He's a natural.
He's a maestro. I love that kid.
He's phenomenal. I love Trae Young.
Atlanta's going to be a playoff.
Is an absolute animal. I just think that when you have a player that's going to take up so much of the possessions, they have to make your team better.
I mentioned it the other day, I think Wednesday, that I'm kind of liability on it a little bit, but
his stock is still high, man.
I think Colin Sexton is slowly leaving a blood trail to why he doesn't belong in Cleveland. I think the biggest tell in his play last year, he did grow, but I think it was an individual standpoint, and it wasn't as a collective team goal. But this year, before the season started, I think and this is what I thought was really weird. I mentioned the other day, but his unwillingness to not be anything but the point guard, which is really weird with his
skill set
connection or his
Beilein said it in the post game too about him being great as a two.
Everything's been pointing to it. But Colin Sexton,
they're pushing him into the two, and he's not going there.
He's resistant.
And you look at the time he was on the court with Garland, he didn't know how to operate without the ball in his hands, and that's a real problem. You have to be able to play without the ball in your hands at some point.
And that's a Westbrook problem too.
Unless you're a top tier player, you're not gonna be able to do that and command that kind of share of the ball every night.
And that's something he needs to get through his head real quick, because he's not in college anymore. He's not like an elite level talented player anymore. Anybody or everyone in the league from 1 to 6, 1 to 8 can compete with them.
Riddle me this: if the Cavs believe that Sexton was the answer, why would they draft Darius Garland at point guard? They're gonna.
Oh no, the weird question
they're gonna put him in at the 2, or he's not gonna be here. That's all there is to it.
Well, if he work at the 1, why you draft another one?
Entirely good point.
So why wouldn't you draft Tolliver, or why wouldn't you draft DeAndre Hunter, or what the guy from Duke, the shooter, Cam Reddish?
Because you need a quality point guard.
You need
in
a
the
full
NBA. You need someone who's going to run your offense, and it just so happens that Garland can not only run the offense, but he can score. And that's the way this NBA is going, is having these dynamic point guards that can not only run your offense, but can score when they need to get a bucket. And I think Garland's that type of player, and that's why Sexton isn't our point guard this year.
Which is why you mentioned the dynamic duo, and that is very evident in the modern NBA. And it could work. If Colin Sexton will just adapt this Damian Lillard, C.J. McCollum role, and just put in his little scoring spurts when needed, and not it's almost kind of like whine that he's not the one. And I haven't watched much interview with him, but that one comment alone preseason was enough to tell me that he's still resisting it. And like I said, I mentioned the other day that his relationship with Garland makes it even more weird because apparently they became pretty close. And if you can't like trust your brother or like in this sense, like you're running with for 82 games to like know his skill set and trust that have some self awareness and think and use his best skills to his ability and use yours, then like I said, his time in Cleveland is going to be shortcoming.
Basketball players can see and can recognize talent and ability.
It's an eye test.
It's an eye test, and you can feel it. And
talked about that in football
even though Sexton is improved, I still doubt that he has support of players like Kevin Love. I really still doubt it. I don't think he does. I'd be very shocked to think that like Kevin Love is fine with this kid like taking shots away from Kevin. Like, Kevin's a team player and all, but there's times where you're like, that's not a good look.
Oh, there was a few times I think yesterday where he just wanted to Sexton for a wide open 3 or like a little handoff, and he passed it up. That might be a common Kevin Love practice to free up the defender and did a little jump start because he's not the quickest. But I want to watch for it as the season progresses and see if that's something he often does with Sexton, because he had the same thing with Clarkson and Garland. He's like, all right, here you go, man. Like, do your thing. And I think what I'm going to see with Kevin and Sexton, I think he's going to be hesitant or he's going to pull that ball away and just kind of take it himself. So that's something I think to look for, not this season. It's a little fun little thing, just like under the radar, kind of evaluate or kind of analyze.
I'm a huge Cavs fan, and I'll say that loudly and proudly.
Which is why we want the best for him.
And I do want to see him succeed. But I'll tell you this: as a Cavs fan, it's extremely upsetting to watch this guy play basketball on a nightly basis. He just doesn't do enough for me, and I think you really should look at your options for what you could get for him at this point. His stock is extremely high. I know a lot of people will be upset if we got rid of him, but if a team starts going downhill, not necessarily the Cavs this year, but another team starts going downhill, like say the Suns or Sacramento Kings,
I think the Suns are going to be really
or another
good,
team out there,
not really good, but they could be.
Or the Grizzlies. There's players on some of these
the Grizzlies
these bad
a
teams.
good bet, yeah.
How would you like yourself a little bit of a Bradley Beal?
With the Lakers. He's with the Lakers.
Bradley Beal?
Oh, Bradley Beal. No, I'm sorry. I'll say about Avery Bradley. My mistake.
How would you like to have yourself?
Well, what would you trade for Bradley Beal? So
you're gonna
Tristan Thompson and
you're gonna give him a bunch of expiring contracts.
Cedi? Oh no, Cedi, we just signed him.
You're gonna give himself a bunch of expiring contracts in Sexton.
Clarkson?
You can have Sexton.
So what are you thinking? Sexton, Clarkson, and probably Thompson or Delly?
Yeah, they just gave him like what, $1 million for like
$1 billion.
$1 billion for 2 seasons. He said
the Bradley Beal, yeah.
Yeah, his extension was like 2 years.
I think he already had a year
like
on it.
$70 million.
I think he already had a year left on his deal or 2. So I think he's through 21 and 22.
I'd like to go talk to Boston and see what they'd give me.
That would be an awesome pairing. Bradley Beal and Garland. And also give the Cavs a go-to budget scorer.
Because the Wizards are gonna be awful this year.
I really love dreaming up about Buddy Hield, but that was like almost immediately shut down. I think the Sacramento heard us talking about it because as soon as we mentioned it, that they locked him up.
They have Fox. They have De'Aaron Fox too, which is
that's good pairing.
They don't need. Did
you see Buddy Hield last night? He was just pulling everything.
Also, Fox is not Colin Sexton. Just so we're clear.
No, Colin Sexton is not De'Aaron Fox.
That's the correct way to say it.
But no, you're right. De'Aaron Fox is also not Colin Sexton. But that's a positive sense.
Both true statements.
That's good for Fox. Yeah.
Both true statements. All right, so I think we've got into enough Cavs information here that we have a pretty good understanding of where this Cavs season is going to look like. Make sure you listen to John Beilein talk when he's on the mic. Make sure you look for the development of Darius Garland and continue to watch what this offense does, because I think this offense is going to start to be fun here at some point. And I'm not saying it's fun, but like some point in the future. I mean, like in the first 10 games here, we're gonna see some fun offense.
I think any other game we can see it. I think we should try. I think it's gonna be inconsistent, but I think there's gonna be fun throughout this entire season.
Here's my last thing. I'm absolutely, positively sick of the amount of disrespect the Cavs are getting now just because LeBron's not here. It's sickening because they slam them on sports talk radio. A lot of fans are slamming them, and it's like, okay, 2 years ago, what were y'all doing? Y'all were watching LeBron in the finals, and all of a sudden you're going to stop watching the Cavs and talk so poorly about the Cavs with such an uneducated amount of information you're putting out there. It's ridiculous. I listened to about 2 minutes of the radio today, and all they did was slam the Cavs and slam Kevin Love. And I was like, this is absolute nonsense. I couldn't put up with a second of it because it was such uneducated nonsense. So one of the guys is a baseball guy, the other guy's a football guy. I'm not going to say names. I just thought it was ridiculous. And I was over it within seconds and turned it off. And it's like you have a team here in Cleveland that you have to cover, right? Whether it's your sport or it's not your sport. But the Cavaliers have pieces that are worth watching. And I think your job as a radio person is to give us an idea of what we're looking at and what to expect from them. Now, you don't have to say the Cavs are going to be good. You don't have to say that. But to slam the Cavs for what they've done so far since LeBron has left, or look at the Cavs roster and say there's no talent there, is just simply not true. So I'm done with my Cavs rant for the moment. Let's jump over to football real quick, because football is obviously the sport right now in Cleveland, but we have a huge game coming up here against the Patriots. Definitely worth talking about. And now there's all kinds of billboard material out today because some person took a Jarvis Landry quote and blew it out of proportion.
And misquoted it.
And read it wrong and didn't understand what it was. And now everyone's got pictures and quotes that are incorrect, and it's just simply not the truth. So Jarvis was being interviewed asking about their mentality the rest of the season, and Jarvis said, we're going there to win. And it was misheard and misinterpreted as we're going to win. Like he's guaranteeing a win. Right. Now, little historical fact, back before Jarvis was with the Browns, he did guarantee a win when he was with the Dolphins against the Patriots. He said they were going to win both games. A little bit ridiculous. So it's not far-fetched to think that Jarvis would guarantee a win. But you're a team coming off the bye who hasn't had the best first part of the season.
Up and down.
It's kind of silly to think that Jarvis was going to guarantee a win out of this.
For how level-headed Jarvis Landry has been since his time in Cleveland, and well-spoken has been, and the leader has been in Cleveland, it would be shocking to hear him actually quote what was said in these misinterpreted posts. But yeah, for a 7-0 Patriots team who has the top 3 defense in the league, who's on fire, and who Tom Brady just picked up, Emmanuel Sanders. They trade for him?
No, the Patriots traded for Sanu.
Didn't they sign? Oh, that was the Texans, I think. No, okay. They picked up Mohamed Sanu, but they put Josh Gordon on the IR. But I think Sanu fits him better, so I think they upgraded in that case. But back to Jarvis Landry, like it's just ridiculous to think that he'd be misquoted that his tenure in Cleveland. You can't. It's. I know it's often the player's reputation is often cited and brought back from his time on a different team, but you have to take the chunk of what he's been or what he's like the player he's became and adjusted to be.
I just think it's dumb that people were looking for like a fancy punchy quote to put out there, and now everyone is pushing this quote that's incorrect.
It's looking for a title.
It's just for clickbait, really.
It's
just stupid. Side note: the Patriots have played close to nobody since on the record so far.
Since the season.
We covered this morning here on our Twitter page. But let me just read off the records real quick of the teams they've played so far. So they played the Steelers, who are 2-4, same record as the Browns. They played the Dolphins, who are 0-6. They played the Jets, 1-5. They played the Bills, the only good team they played, who's 5-1.
Didn't they play against the Jets when they didn't have Garland? Oh, that was the first game back.
Yeah,
that was the first game back.
Maybe.
That was last week.
They only played them twice. They played them in week 3.
Okay.
They played the Redskins 1-6, awful franchise. They played the Giants 2-5, awful franchise, and they played the Jets again. So out of all those 7 opponents, the
Browns
they only played the Bills. And the Browns had the best roster of all those teams they played.
Buffalo has a better defense, but not a complete team. Not
the level of talent the Browns have versus all those teams. You could probably take the Jets roster and the Giants roster, put them together, and the Browns would still have more talent. There's not a lot of talent on those rosters that they played. And what's his face wasn't even playing. Saquon wasn't even playing, so it's like whatever. So here's the thing though. So
put it into perspective.
To give you some perspective here, the Browns have done one thing very nice in the bye week so far. There's been talk of them mixing up the offensive line, but we have no idea who the actual starters are. Freddie Kitchens has been confusing at best as far as talking about who is going to be the starter. There's words that maybe Robinson will be demoted, or maybe Hubbard will be demoted.
Is he doing it on purpose? Because we know Freddie to be very straightforward and just to speak his mind and tell it how it is. Well, is that John Dorsey kind of instructing him to do it based off
100%.
the trade rumors and stuff?
100%. Because if the New England doesn't know who is on the offensive line, the defensive lineman will have a harder time understanding tendencies and what to look for as far as the moves to make on them. And especially with Drew Forbes being activated off the IR today, you'll see that he could possibly be a guy you'd fit in there at the right guard position.
Yeah, he was a sneaky late round pick. He came from a small school, but teamed his ways about his work ethic and character guy. And I think they trying to shift him and trying to find him a spot. I think. Last time I remember in training camp.
Yeah,
he's kind of a tweener tackle. I think he fits a guard position more.
You're going to make at least one change on the offensive line. I think making any more than a single change on the offensive line would be a horrible move. Because when it comes to offensive line play, continuity actually matters. Whether or not the whole line is a high level group of players,
but they need to be on the same page.
But continuity and knowing the guy next to you what they're going to do is really
and knowing
important.
what the quarterback is going to do.
And I think that matters not only in the run game but on the pass game as well. So I would think that the left tackle position, Greg Robinson, would be the player they'd look to replace this week. And either going to see Lamb jump in there, or maybe Forbes, but I kind of doubt Forbes is a right guard, I believe.
Yeah, he's a rookie too.
So I think you're going to see Lamb probably jumping in left tackle rather, and I think that'll be your big adjustment for the offensive line.
I just hope they build off what they did in Seattle and just stay prepared and keep what was working with them and tweak the rest. Now
you had an interesting comment that you heard about from Odell Beckham. As far as what he's experienced when playing New England.
Apparently every time Odell Beckham Jr. plays New England, other times were all in with the Giants. Apparently, like pregame, Bill Belichick says, "I hope you have fun today because you're not gonna get a lot of looks like this game," and that's kind of a little funny thing because. But something to look for because Bill Belichick's going to take out the Browns' best players. It'll be an offensive end and defensive end. He made a comment about how unstoppable Myles Garrett is going to be, and that kind of makes you think that he's just gonna kind of want everything. He's gonna make it extremely difficult for him. Just running around the field. They're probably gonna do a lot of screen plays and just try to keep him guessing. To eliminate his dominant pass rush, which it's been, like I said, this lethal with 9 sacks, tying 9 sacks this season.
Here's what I think you'll see in the New England game. I think you'll see a more connected offense. I think you'll see a defense that looks a lot tougher than it did in weeks past, especially with having Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams back.
They're projected to be back, yeah.
And when you come off a bye week, you expect your team to be prepared and ready to go.
Way more than on a week-to-week basis, yes.
Here's what's going to make the difference in the New England game. It's going to come down to that moment of adversity. When Tom Brady responds and when Bill Belichick makes his adjustments, what are the Browns going to do to counter those adjustments? And will the Browns have an answer? And so far this season, when we've gotten hit in the mouth, we've completely collapsed. And one of the things you want to see from a team from a development standpoint,
a young
and
team,
especially from Baker, is when that team punches you in the mouth, you can't expect to get it all back at once. So what I'm looking for is when the adversity hits, when things get a little more difficult than what they were, 10 minutes ago. I want to see Baker stay composed. I want to see him run his offense and not be looking to get everything back in one play.
I want to see a methodical drive that takes up 6, 7, 8 minutes off the clock. Now I want that response.
I want him to take. I want him.
I want him to take check down after check down. I want him to hit Nick Chubb. I want to give him screens. I want to do some drag routes and some crossing routes with Jarvis and OBJ over the middle. And I just want to see him stay creative and not try to force throws, because we've seen Baker a little bit too much, to put it lightly, try to be a hero a little bit much, rather than this stick to the game plan and just trust the talent and players around him.
New England does a great job of making you play undisciplined football. They are an absolute grindhouse. They don't do anything flashy, but they will just grind you to a pulp
every single time.
In the way they play football, it's methodical and it's well thought out. It's not flashy.
Irritating.
It's
irritating football.
Absolutely, because there's no
fundamental.
You know what's coming, and Brady's gonna dare you to stop it.
And once you do try to stop it, what they've been doing all game, they hit you with the big stuff.
I'll tell you what the key to stopping Brady is, though, and this has been the key for forever, is you knock him on his butt.
Yeah, I was like, make him feel the pain. Make him feel like he's 42.
Make
him feel like the age that he is.
If you hit Tom Brady, he is much easier to slow down than if you're not getting contact on Brady.
And we saw from the first few weeks with Brady, he was very quick to deal with the football. I think he was one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league, and he just didn't trust his line, and I think he was starting to feel that age. And so I think if we can blitz heavy early and probably press on the receivers and close them up real quick, and maybe we can get Olivier Vernon going. I know Steve O's talked about maybe unleashing Jannard Avery if he's active. And like you said, put Brady on his back a few times, make him feel that pressure, made him feel that little tingle on his neck a little bit. I think it'll give Cleveland a much greater chance.
I expect to see more blitz packages, knowing that your corners are going to be back, or knowing that your corners should be back.
Your starting corners, yes.
That you should be able to expect more out of your corners to allow the blitz to get there. So you should send more blitz packages to put that pressure on Brady to make those decisions.
One thing to look at is how these Browns linebackers have faced the last few games and how they try to bounce back from having a pretty lackluster first 6 weeks of the season. And I think what Bill Belichick and Tom Brady are going to try to do is they're trying to do a lot of trying to hit the running backs in the flats and trying to do 10, 15-yard chunk plays with the running backs, because they probably think that they're faster than our linebackers. So we'll see.
Yeah, because Joe Schobert's slower than molasses.
He is. So we'll see if Matt Wilson can fly it on a little bit and disrupt that potential game plan.
If Schobert has a hard time guarding these running backs, you think they'll put in? I think Taki might get some minutes.
He could, and also we might see Jannard Avery kind of maybe morph back into the linebacker position. because I think Steve Oates wants him to be active, but it's not up to him. It's up to Freddie Kitchens and ultimately John Dorsey to make that active roster.
I think you have to make him active after these comments this week, because if you think someone can make a great impact on the game, then you have to get him in the game. Then you have to give him minutes. You got to get him on the field.
He's a talented football player. He's a great pass
rusher. He's only
rusher.
a second-year player. It's not like he's been in the league for years. And
he's deteriorating or something.
Yeah, he's a second-year player who's a physical animal. The dude's a beast.
He's a mammoth of a man.
And he's shown he can be disruptive on good quarterbacks. Not
good lines too.
Against good lines on good quarterbacks. He lit up Pittsburgh last year. He lit up the Eagles last year too. He had a good game against both those quality opponents. So I think it'd be a great time to get him out, and unleash him during a game like the New England game. So
yeah, throw something different and just try something new. Try to pair up some better pass rush with your corners coming back.
All right, so we can get a prediction here from you. What do you think the final score is going to be?
I want to be optimistic. I want to keep it tight. I think we're not gonna back down to adversity, and I think we're gonna see what we saw with the Seahawks a little bit. That toughness start to come out just from the team. I think the defense was unfairly judged against the Seahawks. I think they gave the offense more than enough chances, and the Patriots kind of threw the ball away. And a little bit with play going in the red zone. But I'm gonna say, I want to say it's gonna be kind of a lower scoring game. I'm gonna say 18-21 Browns.
Ooh, 18-21.
I think it's gonna be a little bit in the dirt. You're gonna have that defense, that Patriots defense, shine a little bit early on. But I think the Browns are gonna slow down, and then we didn't hit. I think Nick Chubb's gonna go off again. I can't see that guy not going. The last time the Browns won, Peyton Hillis had a monster game. It was 2 or 3 touchdowns for over 150 yards in 2010. So we might be able to do a little bit of a deja vu and get another beast of a running back in there against New England.
I'm gonna go with a 24-17 victory. I think the Browns get some offense going early, and then I think the defense holds later in the game and creates a turnover when it counts the most.
Miles get strip sack?
I don't know if a strip sack's gonna happen, but I think I'm counting on the defense, holding tough and a big I want a big game from our secondary. So I'm predicting a 24-17 win. All right, so moving on from the Browns, we got a little bit of Indians news. We do have a couple Gold Glove nominations, which is real exciting. I know the Indians didn't make the playoffs, and obviously with the Astros and the Nationals are in the playoffs right now. So I'm really hoping the Nationals win, because I do not like the Astros, even though Michael Brantley's on that team. But I would love to see Lindor or Lindor Perez win one of the Gold Gloves. Lindor is up for his second Gold Glove opportunity here.
He did one last year, didn't he? Maybe 17.
And then Perez has never gotten a Gold Glove, but he did lead the MLB in runs saved. He had 29 runs saved there, which is a defensive metric that measures your impact on the defensive game. It was a stat that actually came out and was developed back in 2003.
Wow, that's pretty recent. He stepped in and did a great job for what a lot of people the move after the Indians traded Jan Gomes. A lot of people didn't like, but he filled in nicely and he showed why the Indians had faith in him.
Yeah, I think he was one of the real bright spots of the Indians this year, and I really enjoyed what he was able to do for the offense. And he started hitting too. He still brought it on. I think
defense, he had 24 home runs too.
He had a nice season.
He had a good hitting year.
Definitely. Well-deserved nomination there. All right, last thing we got here
is our weekly segments.
It's our weekly segments. Yeah, these are the fun parts of the show. We do a little quick hitters. So over under, Tim. We're gonna do the Cavs over under here. will Tristan Thompson score more than 14 points a game? He had that aggressive game 1. What do you think?
He had 18
He had
game 1?
16, didn't he?
Well, I think...
He had 16, yeah.
I'm going to sell it, but I'm going to only sell it by a little bit. He's been averaging only 9.2 points per game for his career. He's been mainly defensive guy, and he's been a monster on the offensive glass for much of his career. But with his improved offensive game and his new comfortability and confidence in what I think he's starting to develop go-to moves on the offensive end. And I think his biggest one is that drop step to the baby hook. And I think he's so athletic. And he's kind of lanky for a 6'9", player. I want to say coming out of Texas, he had like a 6'11" or a 7-foot wingspan. And that little teardrop, using his strength after bodying him, I think he's really found a touch with that with his right ambidextrous hand.
I like it. I think
he might have a
13
and a half points a day, maybe.
I'm going to say he's going to average about 12. I think 12 is a realistic number,
like
Tristan.
12.7.
I think he'll have a great season, though. I think he'll showcase his ability, and they'll offer him an extension at some point this year.
I think he'll go back to the Iron Man he was, because the last 2 seasons, I think he only played 43 games last season. And then 50-some the prior year. Or it might be the opposite.
They shut him down because the Cows were trying to
And he had the ankle injury that put him for a while?
They shut him down for tanking purposes.
Yes,
So,
that is. But it
didn't pay off really.
I mean, it did, because we had
no.
Darius Garland, who could have been a top 2 pick. So,
would you rather have Darius Garland or John Morant?
with John, it's still up for discussion. I mean, I think Darius Garland could be a bit of a playmaker, but John Morant is freakishly athletic, and just like Zion, he has enormous potential that I think you couldn't pass up. But I do like Colin says that I think he could have been pegged at 3, but he had the Lakers and Knicks there. Oh no, he had the
Pelicans. Those jerks. Yeah. All right, so
that was the one. Who's 3 and 4? Oh, Atlanta,
Lakers got the 4th pick.
And New York.
The Lakers got the 4th pick.
You might be right.
They did.
They
used it as one of the trade pieces for the to get Anthony Davis.
All right. You're probably right. You've been right a lot lately.
I've been right a lot lately. Say it loud. Say it proud to me. Mike's been right a lot lately. All right, moving on to the next segment. We're gonna do with the buy or sell.
We had a couple of Browns ones because we did a bunch of Cavs one the other day. We'll start with the trade deadline one. Will John buy or sell? Will John Dorsey trade for offensive line help before the Tuesday, October 29th, 4 p.m. deadline?
Oh, 100%. I'm absolutely going to buy that, because when there's smoke, there's fire, and there's been multiple rumors that the Browns are not letting up on the Redskins, and I think eventually the offer is going to sound sweet.
Despite what Redskin reporters said, which I thought was funny.
They've also inquired to the Eagles
and the Giants.
And the Giants for offensive line help.
Well, I think tackles. It's a really weird name from I want to say the Giants.
Don't the Giants have Nate Solder?
It might be him, and then it might be the Eagles tackle. I'm thinking of.
I'll pay for.
It's like Batter Holly or something like that.
David Bakhtiari?
It might be.
No, that's from Green Bay, buddy.
Whatever. I'm all over the board. But I do agree with that he will trade for offensive line help. You're gonna try to protect your franchise quarterback best you can, and even though you just want depth, even if he doesn't start. With offensive line, it's just a fragile position. If you have one guy down, you talked about continuity. If you have someone who knows the system, and can jump back in to help bridge that gap, and try to keep it as smooth running as possible, that's what you want to do. And if you're John Dorsey, and from the past moves he's made in this short tenure with the Browns, I'd bet on that he'd make that move.
Let me throw one out there real quick. Do you think the Titans would trade Taylor Lewan?
Give me Elijah Saffold, but they just gave him a big old deal. But they could. I mean,
Taylor Lewan.
The Titans aren't having the season that they wanted.
They just put Ryan Tannehill as their starting quarterback, who got them that win the other day, and they put Mariota on the trade block. So, just saying.
All
Just
those
saying.
Mariota fans
No,
trying to hide behind the computer screens.
yeah, it's a little bit painful. All right, next one here is will Rashard
The
Higgins
last one.
finish the season in a Browns uniform?
I want to say no. I raved about how much I love Higgins. I think he's a huge part of this offense, and I think he's been one of those guys that's been out of the offense that's caused the issues we've seen from this offense in the first 6 of the season. But I think you convinced me last episode when you said he's on a contract year, I believe you said, and the contract he's going to require and just the amount of money we currently have sunken in to Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry. And I think you're right with him being like a pass regime guy and how they want to turn Callaway as a cheaper replacement with the way that the roster is budgeted right now. So as much as I love Higgins, I would love to keep him probably in the uniform as long as I can. I'll like maybe a season or two more, but I would love to see him as a Brown forever. But sometimes he's gotta sometimes it's business. And I think once these move, it's business.
I'm gonna say this very clearly for everybody to listen to. If you have to have Rashard Higgins on the field to be a good quarterback, you're not a good quarterback. I'm telling you right now, if Baker requires Rashard Higgins to be on the field, then Baker is not the answer, and he's not your quarterback. Did that hurt a little bit? Did it sting a little bit?
No. I just said I think he's been that big missing piece for that safety valve that he was last year. Because that OJ connection, that great chemistry that they had in his new team with
when you say OJ connection, you're referring to 2K Sports.
Yeah, I keep
NBA
on saying
2K.
it, keeping on to
We're
say
not
it.
talking about OJ Simpson, just so you know.
Yes.
Timmy's making references that nobody's getting.
That's okay. But with Odell Beckham not having many reps outside of training camp, they didn't play many other starters in preseason, and so Baker just hasn't had the reps. I think that paired along with Freddie trying to run a scheme that I said that vertical passing game, it doesn't fit their offense. I think those have been the two things that hurt this team the most.
Yes. So, but my point here being is if Baker requires Higgins, then Baker's not a good quarterback. You have Odell freaking Beckham Jr.
Absolutely correct.
And you have Jarvis Landry on your roster, and those guys should absolutely be feasting for you right now. Odell has one touchdown. I
think Jarvis.
You're 6 games in the season.
Wait. I think Jarvis.
If you told me preseason
Hold
that
up.
Odell's gonna have one touchdown.
Hold on now.
You would say I'm crazy.
Hold on. I think what's even crazier than that, I want to say Jarvis and Odell have one touchdown combined between the two.
Yeah, and that's just play calling.
And
right
you probably have what, over 120 million between the two.
They've got
easy.
You've got to get them
easy.
The ball. So my point being here is Baker's a good quarterback. Offensive line needs help, and the Browns simply do not need Rashard Higgins in order to be a successful offense. I know it hurts as fans because we like Higgins, but he's not going to be.
Man.
He's not going to be the answer to making Baker be a better quarterback.
Not part of the long-term future. Look at
the quarterbacks across the league. When you speak about legend quarterbacks or even current players that are destroying it, do you speak about them needing their receivers to be successful?
No,
or do you speak purely on the talent that they make the rest of the team better around them?
Also, you hear these wide receivers, these receivers, the tight ends, pop up out of nowhere because the quarterback is making them look so good, and making them and giving them or allowing them to have these huge seasons.
Perfect example. Patriots Edelman. The dude was a 7th round pick out of Kent State. He's a nobody. He's a scrapper. And all of a sudden, he's probably going to be a Hall of Famer because Tom Brady is that darn good, man. And he's a staple in that offense now.
Not to take away credit from Edelman, who worked his butt off and formed that awesome connection with as a slot.
Yeah,
with Tom
100%.
Brady.
But But you don't get a 7th round pick and turn him into a premier wide receiver just because they're that good. The quarterback impacts that player tremendously.
It also might put that spotlight on that player too that no one else would have saw.
Who the heck is Aaron Rodgers throwing to recently? Do you know any of his receivers?
Well, they were banged up. They had Devontae Adams, and Aaron Rodgers is throwing dimes, and all the receivers had to do is catch it into their chest, rolling into the end zone.
Mm-hmm. What do we talk about when we talk about Patrick Mahomes? We talk very little about Tyreek Hill. We talk extremely highly of Patrick Mahomes when he's able to do it. In the quarterback.
They just have so much speed.
I mean, they do.
And Pat Mahomes can make any pass.
Yeah, Drew Brees. Do we talk about Drew Brees' receivers that much? I mean, we talk about how great Michael Thomas is, but do we
Ted
talk?
Ginn, he wasn't a good receiver.
No, he was
Ginn?
not. Ted Ginn was not a very good receiver.
And then he made him to a respectable 2-3 guy.
But that's what I'm saying is your best quarterbacks, they don't need a 3rd string wide receiver to make them better. They make that 3rd string wide receiver better. Right. So think about it that way when you think about Rashard Higgins. And let's stop the outrage about Baker needing Rashard Higgins to be on the field. It could very well be John Dorsey and Freddie testing Baker saying, bro, like, you going to play or are you going to rely on your 3rd string wide receiver to help you out every day?
Talent, yeah.
Let's go. So that's going to wrap things up here for this episode of the Everything Is Earned podcast. My name's Mike.
And I am the co-host, Tim.
And remember, in Cleveland, everything is earned.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.